It all depends. The spiritual condition of a country depends a lot on the prosperity of the country. Where there's persecution, where there's hardship, where there's poverty, it's so much easier to preach the gospel. People are more open. As these countries begin to prosper, they begin apathetic. And many of the European nations are turning secular. It becomes more difficult because there's a yearning for success and materialism. And materialism is one of the greatest threats to the preaching of the gospel and the receiving of the gospel of Jesus Christ. And we believe that God does want His people to be blessed. But first with spiritual prosperity, spiritual blessing, and the spiritual riches of Jesus Christ. These countries in Europe, and especially Romania and Bulgaria, Croatia, all of the Balkan countries, as prosperity comes and they're lifted little by little out of the economic hardships, there's less and less a desire to be diligent in prayer, diligent in seeking God, diligent in soul winning. And I have warned here in Romania that the country will slowly prosper. And in that time, it's a great threat. And we're asking pastors to prepare their hearts in prayer and not be put to sleep, spiritual sleep. And I am not a prophet, but I'm a watchman, just one of many of God's watchmen. And I see the desire for better living standard, which comes to us naturally, and there's nothing wrong with that. Even that could even be scriptural, but at the same time, the church has to be aware. Let me give you an example. 35 years ago, I was in Germany, and a pastor showed me his church, that they were renting out to a group from Russia that had come with just a sack on their back and a sausage. And they were praying, seeking God. They were crying in hunger for the Lord. You could hear the cry, and the prayer meetings were so full of fire. I went back 35 years later, and the pastor, we walked by the church, and my heart was sick. There's nobody in the church. And I said, why do I feel this sickness? And the pastor said, now, that church, if you come on Sunday, you'll see nothing but Mercedes and BMWs, all businessmen now, no prayer meetings, and it's all death. 35 years, those same people had died spiritually. And this is a challenge. If success and prosperity is your goal, if that's all you see in the scripture, and you don't talk about sacrifice, you don't talk about prayer, and you don't talk about sin, here's how it all ends. He says this a few weeks ago. You've heard of the coming of Jesus. He said, I'm telling you, Jesus cannot come till you have your new car, and you have your nice house, and you have money in the bank. Well, that is the worst lie ever came from hell. And thousands of people are buying that. Now they're not believing Christ is coming till they're rich. That's an American gospel. It doesn't work in Uganda. It doesn't work in Sudan. It doesn't work in any poverty nation. And I'm saying that that's going to be the test of the church in Bulgaria and Romania and many of these countries.